Claire Hanna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks to our colleagues in the Labour Party for bringing forward this debate and to try to provide security and reassurance to those across all our constituencies who've relied on this uplift at a time of increased cost and fewer economic opportunities. Universal credit claimants in my constituency had increased by 145% on the year to November, which includes many of those who haven't been reached by furlough and self-employment support. The Prime Minister stated last week that what we want to see is jobs and growth. We all do, Mr. Speaker, but between COVID and Brexit, that's simply not a realistic solution at the present. Wanting a better economic climate is not going to meet the basic needs of those who are on universal credit, and it ignores the fact that 40% of claimants are already in work. The compound economic crises we're facing are driving more people to need the safety net of social security, and for public health reasons, we need more people to stay at home, but the social security net is already being found unfit for purpose. Existing cuts are already biting. Lone parents, for one, have lost around 10% of their income. One participant told the Women's Regional Consortium in Northern Ireland that the amount allocated to us just isn't sufficient for basic living costs. We can't have the heating on because we can't afford the gas. Thank God for food banks, otherwise eating would have been much worse. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognise the work of the South Belfast Food Bank and the churches and the sporting organisations, including Breda GAA, Rosario Football Club and Ormo Boxing Club, who've come together to meet the need in this constituency. Unfortunately, in 2015, Northern Ireland returned welfare powers to Northern Ireland, and I regret that despite pledges, hundreds of people are subject to budget cuts, benefit cuts without mitigation, and I am urging the Department for Communities to bring forward legislation to stop tens of thousands more people falling into that gap, and indeed to provide top-up payment for the two-child tax credit rule. Medical experts are making clear, Mr. Speaker, that the crisis is not going to end neatly at the end of March. The economy will likely be experiencing disruption throughout 2021. The uplift was the right thing for the government to do, and I commend them for doing it. But by their own logic, there is no case for removing it now. That this change would save a lot of money is not in doubt, and I know there is consequences to borrowing, but there are consequences for the economy too. The evidence shows that universal credit is spent almost immediately, and therefore this cut would be a loss to local shops precisely when they need it most as well. To finish, Mr. Speaker, I'll borrow a phrase from Marcus Rashford: people in poverty matter, and those people the Chancellor will seriously misjudge if he thinks he can mislead people into thinking that an upfront payment is better simply than nothing. The one-off payment is an attempt to solve a political problem, but it does absolutely nothing to solve the problems of those families relying on this uplift.